Hello everybody, let's have a look at box and whisker plots, which is our next topic for this unit in Year 10 Maths. So box and whisker plots involves a thing called a 5-figure summary. All right, so when we draw a box plot or a box and whisker plot, I usually call them box plots for short, we need 5 figures to be able to construct it. And in class, we've already sort of looked at those 5 figures. There's a thing called the minimum, which is the lowest score, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum score. Okay, and we've just to review what we've done already, here's what's called the 5-figure summary, and we can calculate the interquartile range or the range. So the interquartile range is the difference between Q3, so it's Q3 minus Q1. Q3 is 44, just read it off the table. Q1 is 37, 44 minus 37 equals 7. So the interquartile range is 7. The range is the highest or the maximum minus the minimum. So in this case it's 48, the maximum, minus 29, the minimum, equals 19. So the interquartile range is 7, the range is 19. All right, so this is what a box and whisker plot looks like. You can draw them left to right. Sometimes though you'll see them drawn also this way. Okay, just drawing it roughly here without a ruler, but sometimes you can see them drawn like this. Okay, but for our purposes, we're going to draw them horizontally, left to right like that. And they involve 5 points. And let's start with the whiskers. So the whiskers are dots. Sometimes they're drawn with little dashes, and it's probably what I'll do because I'm used to doing it. And they are located at the lowest score and the highest score. You've then got the box, which is the middle 75%. When we talked about that. So the lower quartile, the 25% mark. So 25% of the data lies below that. Then the middle, it's not always the middle of the box, but the next line in the box, I'll get to that later. Often it is around the middle, but not always. That's the median or the 50%, the middle score. Then at the right-hand side of the box is the upper quartile or Q3. Box and whisker plots are always drawn to scale. All right, so you can see here, you've got your lower score is 4, your lower quartile is 15, your median is 21, your upper quartile is 23, and your maximum score is 28. So you usually draw a scale alongside them like that. Okay, and the scale can be above or below the box. It's up to you. That's the basic structure of them. So let's draw our first box plot. Here I've got my 5-figure summary. In a question in a moment we'll actually work this out, but in this one it's already worked out for us. We've got our 5 figures. Minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and maximum. You can see I've drawn up a scale here, 20 to 50, and I've used a ruler underneath. I'm now going to start constructing this box plot. So I'm going to use a straight line here. And the first straight line is the little whisker bit. It's just a little straight line. As I said, the book does a dot. I like a little straight line. And we draw that at 29. So we've got 20 there and 30 there. So 29 would be about there. I go into the space here and I mark a little straight line there. Now, what I sometimes do with these when I construct them is I now do the maximum so I can line them up. So the maximum is 48. So I go over here to the 48 and I draw a small line the same size, as best I can, directly opposite that first line. So now I've got my minimum and my maximum. The minimum's here, the maximum's here. Now I'm going to draw the middle part or the box, if you like. Okay, I've drawn the 2 whiskers. Now the box. Okay, so the first one is 37. So 37 would be around here. And now I draw a line about 3 to 4 times as big as the one I've just drawn. In fact, I don't like that one. I'm going to just come here a little bit. And so about that size there. I'm not too fussy about the size. It's obviously going to be clearly larger than the whiskers. Okay, so I've drawn it about 4 times as big as the whiskers there. So that's 37. Another one at 39. Exact same size, so 39's about there. exact same size as the previous line. Next one is 44, which is about here, and exact same size as that line I've just drawn as well. So I've drawn in my 5-figure summary: 29, 37, 39, 44, and 48. Okay, now I complete the box by drawing a line there and there. That completes the box. And then I join the whiskers up with the box. So take that over to there and that to there. And there it is. There's my first box and whisker plot. I've got it from the 5-figure summary. Now I can mark these in, which is always a good thing to do. So we got 29 there, 37 there, 39 there, 44 there, and 48 there. And there we go. There's our first box and whisker plot. In the next question, we've got to go a step further. We've actually got to create the 5-figure summary and then draw the box and whisker plot. Okay, so let's have a look at that. First up, okay, so we might draw a little table here. Okay, so I'll draw that up. So I'll draw up a table and we'll put in our 5-figure summary. So I'll just quickly draw that up. There you go, and 2, 3, 4, 5. They're not very even, but we get the idea. All right, we'll start with the minimum. Okay, so minimum. And this stem and leaf plot, 8 and 2, for example, is 82. So our lowest entry here is 82. Now, we might not have seen a stem and leaf plot like this before, but sometimes if there's a lot of 80s, you'll notice here there's a lot of speeds in the 80s. Okay, these are all speeds. You've got 82, 82, etc. Sometimes you break the 80s up into two halves, the low 80s and the higher 80s. And here we've got the lower 90s and the higher 90s. That's just to split it up a little bit. So the higher 80s are including 85 through to 89. Anyway, the lowest score here is 82. Okay, the highest score, the max, is 114, which is the one at the other end of the table. Now, how many things have we got? We've got 25 cards. So remember, our median is 25 plus 1 over 2. That's our 13th. 25 plus 1 is 26, divided by 2 is 13. It's our 13th score. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Our 13th score there is 89. So our median is 89. All right. So now because we've got that figure there, we cross that out and we have our lower and upper halves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 12 things in the lower half. Okay, so remember our formula, 12 plus 1 over 2. That's 13 divided by 2. That's the 6.5 score. So we're looking for halfway between the 6th and 7th score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the 7th one is 85. So it's halfway between 84 and 85. That's 84.5. Okay, so that's our lower quartile. Right, Q1 if you like. Then we've got our upper half, which has also got 12 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here we're also looking for our halfway between our 6th and our 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our 6th one is 94, our 7th one is 95. So halfway between them is 94.5. And that is our Q3. All right, we've now got our table here, our 5-figure summary it's called. Now we can draw our box and whisker plot. So I'm just going to capture, if I can, let's hide that for a moment. Whoops, let's go back to the board. I'm just going to capture this here and copied onto the next slide. All right, so now we're going to draw the box and whisker plot. Okay. Let's have a look at the box and whisker plot here. So we've got 82 to 114. So I'm going to draw it from 80 to 120. Okay. So I might get my ruler out here. And where is it? My ruler here. Right over here. And I'm going to set my scale from 80 to 120. So I'll just draw a straight line here. And we'll go a little bit further. Okay, and make that 80, 90, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115, 120. Okay, so I've now set my scale there. I might just write those in. So 80 and 90 and 100, 110, 120. So there's my scale. I can now start drawing my box and whisker plot. I'm going to draw it in red. So we start with the whiskers. First whisker here is at 82, which is about there. If I line it up, get my straight line happening again. So 82 is about there. The other whisker is at 114, so 115 is there. So 114 would be about there from my other whisker opposite. Lower quartile, 84.5. So a line about 4 times as big, around 84.5. 89 for the median, which is there. 94.5 for the upper quartile, which is there. Join up the box, there and there. Oops. Let's have a look. And then join the whiskers together like so. Over to there. Write our values in. So 82, 84.5, 89, 94.5, and 114. So just looking at this, okay, we can see that, we're looking back to our data here, we saw there that 114 really stuck out by itself, okay? It's called an outlier if you're doing a statistical experiment because it seems to be way out of all the others. All the others are clustered around here in the 80s and 90s and early hundreds. 114 is an outlier. And when you look at your box and whisker plot, you can really see that, okay, that's an extreme value. So something has happened there. If you're doing an experiment, there might have been a mistake or just some extraordinary high value. And when you look at that, you can say, okay, most of the speeds, this was about speeds, most of the speeds were sort of clustered around here, 80s and 90s, but there was one that was really out of the box up here at 114. Okay, so that's how you go about setting up box and whisker plot. I hope that is useful for you, and we'll go through it again in class soon. Bye for now.